friends, how are we doing today? I hope you're doing well. So thank you so much for all your comments and all your support. And so to all of you who have actually already joined Patreon to support this page even more to grow a bit. Like I said at the very beginning, I was not sure who will actually listen to this channel, who will watch it. But it's encouraging to see there are like-minded people, there are people who feel the same, and I think it is important to share a thought on many things in life because, like I mentioned at the very beginning, again, I'm just mentioning, is there may be people who think like us and but feel a bit lost and lonely. Maybe they are surrounded by people who may think otherwise or try to convince them otherwise. And at the same time, for our future generations to feel and think confidently about things and maybe think about things more logically rather than conforming to the popular belief of things. Yeah, like I have said before, this channel is something that has been coming for a long time that I did not get the courage to do. But this is something, one of these subjects that I really wanted to discuss for a long time. So thought I would touch upon it. So there are actually this kind of a subject we can talk for hours if we want to. But I wanted to just give you a brief of few points why I thought it may be the reason for what I'm going to talk about today. For today's subject, I just wanted to discuss as a society, like I'm just talking about population in general. I know that it does not apply to everyone, but majority falls into this category. That why are we so unhappy? For those of you who are genuinely happy, that is great. I'm very happy for you because that is very rare to find. But there is a huge group of people who are very unhappy in this current life. I'm not going to focus on what has been happening in the couple of years, recent couple of years, because there is a specific reason and that none of us actually guessed maybe this kind of situation come about. So I'm not going to talk about what's going on in the pandemic kind of a situation, but I'm just going to talk about in more of a broader term, why are we so unhappy as people nowadays? So when I think about it, I actually came up with a few points, like I mentioned before. One of the biggest things that I thought that contributes to our unhappiness is, so this unhappiness can be people being discontent, dissatisfied, disappointed in life. So unhappiness can all come to that. I know all these different terms may sound and mean differently to each one of you. Okay. So one of the major things that I thought that we are unhappy is, with the current world, we have lost purpose in life. That many of us actually have lost a purpose. We are living life for the sake of living. We have really not, I think maybe the time does not allow us because it is a very fast-paced world that we live in, and there are other, of course, the life that our parents or our grandparents lived is different, but it doesn't mean to say they had a greater, better life. Actually, they went through some of the toughest times than we as a generation had and have and will. Maybe. I'm not sure. But I thought one key thing is to this unhappiness is us not taking time off to just unwind, like just to switch off and think, what is the purpose in my life? Because sometimes it seems like for people to do that makes them even more depressed. But it is important for us to actually take time for ourselves, because if we are to live 50, 60, 70 years or more, hopefully, it's a big time in human terms. It's a big time in to live. And then you as a child, you will be living most of the time with what your parents will be providing you with, and what the society is around help making you to be. And then eventually you go to school, you do this whole like you go to school, then uni or college, whatever, and then maybe you start a job, and you maybe get married, maybe find a partner. If you want, you get married, have children, da 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 da. So this is normal order of things that we do, which is fine. I'm not saying not to do any of that, because I've done all of it too. So what I'm saying is, just take a break. And maybe we do not take a break and just think and realize, what do we really want to do? Is it what I'm trying to acquire, like having this big house, getting a huge mortgage, or getting into debt to have this huge house so I can be happy or be proud about to show to my friends, family, or whatever, or having this car because my friends and everyone has it, so I should have one as well, or having to do a certain type of a job, or certain being in a certain type of an occupation because that's what the society deems best to do, be in or do. Just maybe it's good to for us to just take a step back, think about life, and reflect on what is the purpose of my life. What is my purpose? Finding that purpose, it's I'm not saying finding the purpose have to make you drop everything and everyone around you and go to a jungle. No, it's not what I mean. It is just for looking at life in a simple manner, because I think life has become extremely overcomplicated, which I will be discussing in my next few points, which actually contributes to us being extremely unhappy. I mean, think about it. We are living in a world that has been, with what we know, this is one of the most convenient times to live as a human. We have every convenience in the world that we can think of at this moment. And like a lot of people have this ability to travel if they want to buy so many things. There are so many things in the market that actually we have some of the biggest choices in the time anyone had. Like if we compare to what our parents and grandparents and so on had as choices in life, we have that double, tripled, or quadrupled, or even more. We have a ton of choices in life. So we have extreme inconveniences in life. But we are very unhappy as well. So that's why I feel like it's important for us to look at life, because human life, at the end of the day, our feelings and how we feel about things, our emotions have not evolved as much in the generations that we know. So we think alike. Maybe it's good for us to just take a step back and reflect upon life simply, and think, what do I really want in life? What is the purpose in my life? Because we all have a purpose. Do not, I'm not promoting anyone to just think about what's the purpose in my life and then like, oh my God, I hate my life. I'm a useless person. I'm not going anywhere, and to be depressed. No, it shouldn't be the case. Right? So that is one. And another reason I think that we are very unhappy is because of the obsessive consumerism that we have. Like I said, the previous point, we are having like extreme choices in life. And with the cash power that we have gotten used to this obsessive consumerism. Simply put, I think when I was growing up, it's not because my family could not afford, by touch wood, it was not the case. But it was common, and it was it was the norm for us to hand down things, with starting with clothes. So I actually had, not that I never had new clothes, I did have, but many of the clothes that I used were from my older sister. And I had a lot of books apart from my writing books, which has to be new, I had a lot of books that was handed down to me. People had respect for what they used, so actually they made sure to use them properly, cleanly, and with least kind of damage. And it was common for us to hand it down to people, and then like after I use it, it goes to my younger cousins and things like that. It used to be like that. Even if it is a, let's say, a baby cot that we are talking about, the cot that I slept in was my sister's cot, is still there, and my sister's children used it, and it is still being used my cousin's children as well. So like when that is the quality of things. I mean, what we are doing right now is we buy something and we have to renew things like every year. Like look at a handphone. Sometimes I feel like these handphones, like the smartphones that we are having, they say they're upgrading. Okay, maybe there are upgrades, but you are buying your handphone for your camera maybe nowadays. It has gotten so mixed up in what's the purpose of our purchases anymore. So it's like we do not think about it. So handphones have to be renewed every year, and they are costly, downright costly, right? And then we have to renew, people I know have to renew the theme and the concept of the house yearly, or sometimes once in 2 years, which costs a ton. And then you have to have a wardrobe, a new wardrobe every season, or sometimes annually. And then your shoes, your bags, all these flashy things, it has to be renewed, and it has to be from specific brands, which another point that I want to discuss as a different topic one day actually. So, and the funny thing I find is the consumerism is not just for us. It has gotten so stuck in with our like younger generation. I find the other day I was having a coffee with my husband in this shop. Okay. And then it's such a fashion for these young kids, must be 18, 19, studying for their high school leaving examinations. You have to be seen in this very like funky areas, in these coffee shops, drinking this Pacific latte or whatever the drink they like. That's what they like anyway. And then being seen wearing this specific type of sneakers, and the clothes specific brand, and whatever the jewelry they put on, guys and girls the same. And they have to have a MacBook or whatever the newest pad or the lap tablet that is there with their phones. They need to have the newest kind of headsets on. I mean, these children are being maintained by their parents. And the other day, like I said, I was looking at this boy who was seated next to us, and he was definitely following the Korean fashion, South Korean fashion to the T. Really, a lot of boys here, they look like that anyway. And I was thinking, my goodness, just think how much money must these parents be spending on this kid for him to just go and be seen outside to try to read out his textbooks. And I do not think he can even focus because he has his headsets on, his earpods on, AirPods, whatever. And then, like, I do not think, like, I saw him looking at the same page in his laptop over and over. I don't think he can even focus. But that is the image that he has to maintain to look cool, be cool. I feel like this kind of immense consumerism. So this child is very young, 18, must be 17, 18. When you get used to this type of consumerism, then eventually when you grow old, you try to maintain this. You have to maintain image. It's so difficult to live without that acceptance from the society. And then you become a very unhappy person without you even realizing. When you are young, you do not have to really think about it much because you're so very preoccupied with what's going on in life, because the young hormones are kicking in, you have crushes going on, you have your first loves and whatnot, and so many things. So you're so occupied in it. But this is a lifestyle you slowly bring along with you, whatever you are doing, that getting so consumed by excessive consumerism. Then when you become an adult, when reality hits you, that is when you become this very unhappy person. So that goes to us as the adult generation, and to the younger generation and the older ones as well. So I think that's one of the other key points, that I think that we are very unhappy in these modern times. And another key thing, the other point that I want to discuss is, in modern times we have this unwillingness to invest time and effort into building meaningful relationships. We think we do not have time. We say we do not have time. And I think we are scared of relationships as well. Because nowadays, think about it. Even in my generation, I know there are people who are in their 30s, 40s, even. They are more comfortable talking to another person through text than picking up and having a call, or to make it worse, to meet that person and have a chat face to face. So, and this is getting worse for generations younger to us. They are a lot more comfortable that way. And with that, our people are really finding it difficult, or that they are not willing to spend, when if you really want a good relationship, this can be your romantic partner or your spouse, or it can be a good friend, or it can be whatever the relationship. But if you want a quality good relationship, you should be willing to invest time and effort to fertilize it and bring it up and cultivate this good friendship. You need time and effort from your end, similarly from the other end. So I feel like we nowadays complain that we do not, most of us maybe not having friends, because actually there are people who do not want or have the time to spend time with you. That is definitely an issue which I have experienced and witnessed, living in an extremely modern society here and an extremely modern city. It makes us unhappy, because humans are pack animals. We need to be in our pack. We need to be in the community. We are happy. We love communal living. We love communal things. We have done communal things all our lives. I know there are people who are trying to go away and live alone in the forest and just do things differently. But if you think about it, human nature is, we are communal kind of creatures. We need a community. So I think because of our unwillingness to invest time and effort to relationships, building relationships, quality relationships, then we involuntarily become unhappy in life. So that's another point that I wanted to share. So the other point that I want to discuss, it may not be applicable to all of you, but I'm sure it is applicable to most of us, including myself, is the rat race that we are in. We live in such a rat race with our corporate and the jobs, the what we do. We have this image to maintain. Like I said, we are doing these particular jobs that we may be thinking that we are very happy with, and we have this, oh, I'm working for this MNC, the multinational company, blah blah blah, I am this and that. Who freaking cares? Seriously. Sometimes I feel like I'm been there, done that, I'm still doing it. I feel like, who really cares at the end of the day? The company doesn't care about you the way you try to. We sometimes wear the company's name as a proud badge. We are like so proud we are working for this company. But this, most of the time the companies may be using you, okay? And at the same time, like this rat race is not worth it. What do we do? So this is the vicious circle that I find, is that because you want to go to this job, this the rat race, right? The job that you're going to do, you purchase these flashy, expensive clothes, spending a lot of money, and then you buy a beautiful house with a big mortgage because you can pay it using what you earn, right? Because you are earning whatever the money, okay, for the paycheck that you are drawing, you get a huge mortgage. And then you purchase this beautiful vehicle that you want to be seen in driving to the work, and then that also you purchase it accordingly to what you earn as per the paycheck that you get. And then here you are stuck in a traffic, let's say, like you are stuck in the traffic driving to this job, because and then slaving away, and you have to be restricted by whatever the working hours that's there, and the company will be telling you how many days of sick leave you are entitled to, so how many days you can fall sick, and how many days you can spend with your newborn, and how many days you are allowed to have your honeymoon, or if you're married, and so on, and how many days you are allowed to mourn if you somebody in some loved person dies. And then so so you are driving to this job in this car in the clothes that you have worn, because you need to have that paycheck in order to pay for the clothes and pay your pay the finances, whatever for your car, and then pay the mortgage for your house. It's a very vicious cycle, in my opinion, for most of us. That's the trap that we have gotten into and put ourselves into as well. So I feel like just being in this rat race makes people quite unhappy. We there are so many good things actually a job can do to you. One of the, like, I have learned a lot of things from my job, and at the same time, it's not just the skills or skill set that I have acquired in the job itself, my experiences, but mostly it's learning about people, working with people, the community. I've learned a lot that way. But at the same time, the amount of sacrifice that you do, personal level, sometimes including not being able to be there for your loved ones when they really need you, like when they're sick, or when your child is very down, that you want to be there but you can't, and then your parents may be somewhere far away in a hospital, and you are unable to take leave because there is something that you really urgently need to attend to, like in the job. These things, without us knowing, without us realizing, makes us very unhappy people. So I feel like, again, being in the rat race is another reason that we, us humans, us in this current present world, are unhappy. And another point that I want to discuss is, some of you may downright disagree with me, but this is something that definitely is a point that I see is true to me, myself, and true to many people that I know personally. I feel like urban living makes us unhappy as well. I have grown up in a village, and I've lived in a village, and for a good 2.5 decades of my life I've been in a very rural kind of a setting, and for about a decade I have been living in the middle of the city, in one of the most modern cities in the world, and this is the life that I'm living. And yes, it has its own attractions, insane amount of convenience that comes with living in this kind of a environment, definitely. But I feel like with urban living comes so many other things that we, as us as humans, need. We start missing them. One major thing can be, living in a very urban life could be, you may not be close to your neighbors, and you may not have that kind of very strong bonding, close interactions with your neighbors like you would outskirts or out of the city. So, like I said, humans love community. We love to interact. We love to feel loved. We love to feel belonging, feel like we belong. So that may be uprooted if you are living in an urban environment, because people who are living in a very urban life, urban environment, are actually very busy people, and most of us have migrated in from somewhere else, so we come there for a purpose, and we try to live our life and build a life. So we are way too busy, far too busy to invest time with on each other, and we can be like, oh, I do not know this person, I don't know where they come from, blah blah blah. With the current situation, people are quite suspicious as well, and not as welcoming maybe. So that is one. And another thing is, if you are in an extremely urban life, you may not have the luxury of feeling grass in your feet just outside your door. Simply put, there may not be a garden. You may be living in a stacked home somewhere up in the sky, like I am. So, but most of us as humans, we come from the nature, and we actually love nature. Most of us, I do not know anyone who doesn't like nature, to be very honest. Maybe somebody would tell me I hate nature, but no, I have not come across a single person who has told me I don't like nature. I think nature makes us de-stress naturally, so because we are creatures of nature, right? So again, urban life robs us of this aspect in life and gives us other conveniences for sure. So there are many things that we start missing with this living in these urban environments. I feel like living in an urban environment actually makes in the modern people very unhappy people, because the urban environments are extremely crowded nowadays, and we need to put up with a lot of things that's going on, and even though you live in the city, you're stuck in traffic all the time, and so for most of the cities it's the reality. So it makes people unhappy. Another key thing that I think makes us very unhappy in the modern world, no, modern times, is our abundantly available unhealthy sources of nutrition. Some of you who know me know that I have not had a situation where I have had fast food. I tried my fast food for the first time when I was about 20 or 21. Until such time, I had the opportunity of eating really good actual organic food, not the ones that they actually pack nowadays and puts so many other things in it and say call it organic. But these are really organic things when you are living rural. And we used to eat things which are natural sources, which had extremely few ingredients if you look at a list, right? And if you get a bread, the bread actually will have flour, water, yeast, sometimes butter or oil. And that's it. That's your bread. But if you go now and purchase a bread from the supermarket nowadays and read the label, you're like, what in the world has gone to this bread? And worst of all, if you are eating these cereals, just read the list of ingredients that are going to it. Like it's just tiny, tiny, tiny. In tiny print, it's like this massive list. That's something we're truly off, my friends. Food you didn't used to be like that. Your French fries should be just potato, salt, and oil, not a list like this. Like, it shouldn't be like that. Like, if you want a fry, if you want to eat fries or crisps or something like that, it should be super basic. But if you, I have seen the other day, because I'm not used to eating like chicken nuggets and things like that. I'm used to eating like meat as meat. And if it is vegetables, it's a vegetable. And actually I was not used to even eating frozen vegetables, but I know frozen vegetables is a requirement in certain environments, because you can't grow vegetables, and frozen vegetables can be quite healthy and nutritious as well if if you do it properly. And like for me, because I live in the tropical environment, we always had fresh produce all year round. So I know it's been extremely lucky. I've been very lucky that way. But like when you eat vegetable, it was just a vegetable, and you will cook it with fresh produce, like you will use olive oil or coconut oil, and or else butter, and then you will have some salt, again sea salt, and some pepper, and whatever the spices that you want are extremely fresh as well, and coconut milk, things like that. We did not have to add like this flavoring, other flavoring things. Nowadays people add spoonful of this flavoring condiment. I do not know what is. If you look at those flavoring things that people add and look at the list, you're like, oh my word, what's going on to this? So I feel like, because like I say, humans have not changed much for generations. After evolution, we have not evolved as much for the past many generations, right? So when we are trying to stuff ourselves with these certain things that we are eating and drinking are just a particle away from being plastic. I think without us realizing, these kind of unnatural source of nutrition actually makes us unhappy, because it makes us feel unwell, and most of the time can give us different kinds of diseases, and at the same time it doesn't make you feel good, right? So because of that, I think it is another reason without us realizing. I know most of us go for these options because of the convenience sake, and sometimes it may be what's available to you around, and maybe with what the money you earn, it may be what's most affordable to you. I do understand all your reasoning. I'm not saying you are making a stupid decision or something like that, but I'm just telling you, without us realizing, us doing these things, because nutrition is key to one of the key components to our existence. Maybe it is actually making us very unhappy without us realizing. And another, actually, there, like I said, there are so many points that I can discuss. But this point, before I wrap up, I actually wanted to discuss this point. That is us being another extremely important point that I see for us being unhappy in this modern world is us being slaves to technology. We have become absolute slaves to technology, isn't it? Like, when I look at myself, I'm just truthfully speaking, I was not a person who was stuck in front of a laptop or a phone. I think I don't use the phone that much anyway, actually. I really don't. I use the laptop like a huge amount of time now, because I'm now doing these two channels as well. And then my job entails me being in the laptop the whole day, my full-time job. So I feel like these are devices that I'm talking about. These kind of technologies, like the smart devices that we are using for our convenience sake and our entertainment purposes. Actually, we are extremely stuck with this technology and extremely dependent on it. I know some of the people who have not gone out of their houses for days, months, and so on. All they do is, like, when if you ask someone, they're like, no, I'm a healthy person because I have a treadmill at home, so I exercise, and I have whatever the, let's say a stationary bicycle. Okay, you exercise as well, and while watching TV or watching your whatever the favorite show, and you cook your food, everything. Most of the time you get it delivered, so it's so common here. Everyone orders and delivers food in, and when you want to eat, I reheat it in the microwave. nuke it for a few seconds. Okay, that's food is ready. And when I and through my entertainment, I watch my shows again. And if I want to talk to a friend, then I will have FaceTime or whatever the devices again you use. And you can do everything without leaving your house, and you do not even need to clean your house because there's this robotic small vacuum cleaners now. Okay, they do the job. All you have to do is just set it up. We feel like it is sufficient for us. We have done everything and we are fine. We are happy people because we have done everything, and we do not feel maybe even guilty that we have not even exercised, because we have and done everything as well. So we feel we have done everything within our power and we are happy people. But not really, friends. I mean, when you go out, you do not, even if you do not want to interact with people, if you do not have people, it's nice to see people. It's nice to see children moving around. It's nice to see dogs with the pets around and doing their things, animal doing their things, and then just feel a bit of breeze on your face and in your hair, and you like breathe a little bit of fresh air, and then at the same time just take a little moment, switch off. Don't look at any of the devices. Don't rely on any of this technology, and just be a human for a few minutes. I think it's really important, and it is something that we are not doing. I think recently I've realized sometimes I have not done it. There have been days that I have not left the house, and it is an apartment that I live in, and I used to look forward to leaving my house every day for my walk, and because of the things that I put on myself, then I had stopped it, but I have started doing it again, and I exercise every day. I go out and then to use that time to take in fresh air. I do not listen to anything. If I'm going with my husband, have a good chat for a couple of hours, walking, doing whatever, and immerse in the environment and the nature, and say hello to the neighbors and do everything. I think that's really important to us as humans. We do not realize this, but as our extreme dependence on technology nowadays makes us quite unhappy. Like I said before, these are like some of the most convenient times to live in, but we are unhappy because we are extremely dependent on this technology and devices that's there. So maybe if you have that kind of situation, maybe something that you could do as well, just to reflect, just give, it's not necessary to say that you are unhappy just because of that, but maybe just take a few minutes a break to, like if you are doing it today, just take a half an hour. I mean, for out of 24 hours, half an hour for yourself is well worth it. Just go out, take a breath, just have some peaceful time for yourself. Think about things, or not just don't think about anything. Just look around, give yourself a break. It will improve the quality of your life immensely, truly. So these are the points that I just wanted to discuss. I hope now you understand what I meant by why are we so unhappy in these modern times. These are the things that I see, like people are unhappy. There are more things that I can actually discuss, like expecting this instant gratification, and there are blurred lines between needs and wants. So many things actually makes us unhappy. Not that previous generations were the happiest generations, no, but I'm just looking at the current situation and telling you, I just had a reflection and then contemplated why this is happening, and so I thought I'll share it with you as well. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Have you felt this way? Have you seen people being unhappy? Do you also see some of these things may be relevant to you, but I know some of you may be very happy with your life, which you are blessed, and I hope it continues to all of you. For those of you who already have it, that's superb. But anyway, thank you all ever so much for being here, and thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for supporting these videos. because of you I'm making them, and I'm looking forward to your suggestions over at Patreon as well. So until next time, I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are, and try to think and stay cheerfully. Have a good day.